Well, here we are, end of day one of practice. I got Terry Bolton standing here with me. This is the final stop of the year for the FLW Tour presented by Costa Sunglasses. And Terry, you've had a fantastic season this year. You're sitting 13th in points. And now here we are, Potomac River.
The Potomac River, that's right.
It's hot.
It's hot, really hot. Well, you know, I didn't get a lot of bites. I did get several, but you know, we're fishing a 15-inch size limit the first day of the tournament. So I only counted what I felt was over 15 inches. I had several bites that would be keepers on day two when the size limit changes. So, you know, I basically kind of rode around and looked at 2 or 3 areas today that I'd fished in the past. One of them I had 6 or 7 bites pretty quick. Didn't set the hook on any of them pretty quick. The other area I spent a lot of time really where I was hoping I was going to fish the tournament, and I just caught some small ones. So I probably won't go back there. And I'm probably going to run and look at some more water tomorrow and kind of maybe by the last day of practice focus in on 1 or 2 areas, because in the past I've always struggled here. This is not one of my favorite venues, so I was hoping not to come into this one needing to really catch them to make the cup. Right. So hopefully I just got to catch a few fish to make the cup, so that's a good thing on my part. So, but I'm going to try to change. You know, every time you go somewhere and you don't do well, you try to change your method or change your way of thinking. So I'm going to try to find an area and stay put. And in the past, I tried to run around and they beat my brains in. Oh, sure, sure. You know. But just find something, really get dialed in on what it's doing. And just be able to catch them at whatever the tide, high tide, low tide. That's my plan. Last time I came here, I was the last man in the cup, and I tried to do too much and I fell out. So I'm going to try to learn from that mistake, and I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to try to, you know, stay in one area and try to figure out how to catch them throughout the tides. All right. Well, being that you've been here several times, give us a little bit of an idea of what it's looking like. I can see the grass matted up back here behind us, but as a whole, how does it compare, you know, grass-wise, watercolor-wise to years past? It looks a little dirtier than in the past. The grass looks to be maybe just a little bit behind. I know they've had a lot of rain here. That's probably the reason why. They probably had some dirty water, I'm sure, from all the runoff that's probably slowed the growth of the grass down. Sure. It seems like grass is in the same areas, and there's a good amount of it, just a lot of it isn't up as high. And there seems to be some areas, some dirty water trapped behind the grass. Oh, okay. So the water's maybe a little more rutted up or dirtier than what I was expecting from what it was when we were here a couple years ago. But the grass looks to be, you know, there's still plenty of grass. It's just maybe a little bit behind. All right. Have you caught any snakeheads yet? Because I usually that's like some of the biggest fish you see. I have not, you know, but what's funny is last time we were here, everybody had pictures of snakeheads. I never caught a snakehead throughout the entire practice. Never caught one the first day of the tournament. Second day of the tournament, I caught about a half a dozen, you know, so. You know, my snakehead day's coming, I just don't know when. Right, right. Have you eaten one? No, I have not. All right, we'll have to find one maybe. I hear they're pretty good. I don't know if I can do that. Well, Terry, like I said, it's hot. I think that's a pretty good rundown. I'm gonna let you go, finish rig and tackle. Okay. Get in the air conditioning, man. All right, that's what I'm gonna do, thank you. Well, we're rolling right along here at the end of day one. And when you think of people that do well on the Potomac, you get like Brian Schmidt, you got Wendlandt won here last time, Scott Martin's won here before. But I think the real hammer you need to watch out for is Cory Johnston, right? I hope so. This is like, I mean, we're pretty far from home. We are. Sort of. But it's like home for you. It is. I've fished here a bunch of times with the Costas and whatnot, and I've had some success, and I'm really looking forward to this tournament. It's hot like it usually is when we're here, and the fish just, I mean, this year seems to be good here from all the tournaments that have been going on and the weights, and it seems like it's, you know, just keeps getting better and better, and it's always been a good fishery, so we'll see. Well, now the Potomac is a weird one because it's a tidal fishery like we've said before. And it normally throws a lot of guys for a loop. Now yourself and your brother, to my knowledge, other than here in the James, that's it for tidal fisheries. Why do you guys blend so well with it, and especially yourself? I think it just kind of fits our style. Like we flip a lot at home and flip a lot of milfoil and cast a lot of chatterbaits and top waters and that kind of thing, and that seems to be the program here every single year, year after year, and like I said, it just fits what we do, and I mean, I like it. All right. Well,
I don't want to, there's so many things I want to ask you that I know you're not going to tell me, but I kind of want to know, like you said, it's been, word on the street, Potomac's been on fire so far this year. Today, did you get a glimpse of that?
Yeah, I caught some fish today. I didn't go to any key areas. I kind of left it alone, and I did a quick drive-by, didn't do any fishing. But there's definitely fish biting, that's for sure. I didn't do a lot of setting the hook today, but you know, I think it's going to be like 16 a day to make the top 20.
Wow. Okay.
And I mean, that's pretty high, I think, from years previous, and they're biting out there for sure.
Well, it's a good thing you bring that up, because I was going to ask you, winning weights here over the last 3-4 tour events we've had here, usually over 4 days it's somewhere around 60 pounds, plus or minus a little bit. What I've heard from some guys is that this year could be the heaviest winning stringer we've seen, and I think you're kind of alluding to that.
Yeah, I pretty much guarantee it's going to be the heaviest stringer that we've ever seen here. It's it's the Potomac River, and the grass is growing more and more every year, and there just gets to be more of it, and it's just healthier for the fish population, and it spreads guys out too, so guys aren't grouped up. You can kind of get away and find your own thing, and that helps too for catching big bags of fish, and it's going to bump the weights up for sure. In your opinion, from your years of doing well out here, you're right, there's areas, community holes out here that dudes do load up on. Like when one last time, he kind of had a whole creek to himself. This time around, do you think we'll see a guy that wins? Will he have like an area to himself, or will it be kind of running several different key little places that? I think the guy that's going to win is going to have a few sneaky little spots up his sleeve. He'll go to some community stuff and catch what he can, and if he needs to get 1 or 2 other fish, he'll have something away from all the crowd and that he can go to and pick off 1 or 2 or 3, whatever he needs. And I think that's going to be how you're going to win. You're not going to win on the community stuff, because I mean, I've been here, I've done it, and it just gets pounded and the fish shut down. It's too hard to catch them. So the guy that wins is going to have something up his sleeve for sure. All right, the final thing I want to ask you is in terms of tides. I feel like if you talk to like a Brian Schmidt, like someone that fishes here a lot and is very used to the system, he's really tuned in to that running the tide thing, right? Like he knows the certain window when the fish are going to bite, and he does that. We've also seen a lot of guys do well here, just kind of saying, I don't really care about the tide. This looks really good, I'm just going to fish it. What side of the court do you fall on? You know what, I'm kind of 50-50 on that. If I can run the tide and I can figure out when they're biting, I'll definitely do it. It definitely helps to be in a productive area where the tide's always moving and the fish are biting, rather than sticking it out in a spot. And you're going to catch fish all day, there's no doubt about it, but there's better windows than others to catch the bigger fish. That's for sure. So, I haven't got a game plan set yet. I still got 2 more days. So, that's true. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, to be honest with you. I got a ton of more water to check, so I'm hoping I can end up running the tide, because like I said, it's more beneficial. Sure, playing the odds kind of. For sure. Well, Cory, with that, I'm going to let you go hop in the air conditioning, and if you're watching, folks, and you don't have your fantasy fishing team set, I want to put this guy on there. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Well, final interview of the evening, I think, anyway. Okay. We got Jim Tutt, and there's 2 reasons I want to talk to you. One, you love fishing up north here. Right. You're really good at fishing grass. I guess we'll roll that into one. Okay. The other thing is, you've done well here. I have. I've been very fortunate. You have. I mean, and I think for a lot of guys, the veteran guys that have been here enough, there's a random tournament here or there that you've, done not so great in. Right. But for the most part, I mean, this is kind of your wheelhouse. Tell me about it. It is. Yeah. It's obviously it's the title stuff, but I don't really focus on that. It's shallow fishing and grass, and it's basically summertime now, and it's what I like to do. I mean, I like to fish grass and find big areas that I can just either stay in or just move around in all day. So and I've got pretty good amount of experience on this place, and so I don't have to really hunt for a lot of places. I mean, they change within the spot, but I don't have to go up and down the whole body of water to look for them. So anyway, we'll see. Well, that's a good question, because I wanted to know, I know that there's a lot of community holes here that guys fish from year to year, but for the guys that do well, like yourself, you can kind of check some of those same vicinities, whether the grass grows differently or whatever it is. They still kind of live there. Basically. Absolutely. There's several areas on here that, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 that, or I'd call them local areas, but
community holes, but you know, they're community holes for a reason.
Right.
And you know, it's kind of when you find those areas, you just have to fish around, or you know, you have a little key spot within those spots that you know about until you get some bites, and you know, either slow down or time it just right with the tide. And so you know, it helps me because I don't have to spend, you know, all the time of my practice looking for those areas,
right,
because I kind of know where a lot of them are. So it just saves a lot of time.
Well, I haven't asked anyone this yet, but I've mentioned that I can see some beautiful looking grass over here matted up.
Yes.
It looks fantastic.
Absolutely.
Have you thrown a frog at all?
You know, I will not lie, I have thrown a frog. I started out this morning in a spot, actually a new spot that I hadn't fished before. I was told about it by a friend of mine from last year. We came up here and fished the Costa.
Yep.
And my buddy that I traveled with, he fished in this area. So anyway, we went to that area and threw a frog, and I caught two. I actually caught two just really quick. So we left out of there. And then I think that was no, I had one more bite on frog. But the tide was kind of different today.
Okay.
And the areas that I was fishing, it wasn't really right for that, which I think they'll be in there. But I did throw it, and but I didn't have, I mean, I did not have a good day, what I would call a good day. We got some bites, but it wasn't what I was expecting.
Now, for a guy like yourself who has been here, you know, handfuls of times, you know so many areas to look at. How do you approach practice? I mean, you got one day down, you got two left.
Right.
What's your game plan for these next few days?
Well, I kind of split it up, you know, into thirds, I guess. I went that way, which would be north towards DC today, and then I'll kind of go south a little bit, or what I call mid-lake, although mid-river, whatever. Sure. And then go way down the next day.
Oh, okay. You just
I'm just breaking it up, yeah. And you know, you can't, unless you're running the tide, which I don't really, I'm not very good at that. I usually get one area of the lake and fish that area of the lake. So, and there's enough places in there big enough that you can do that. For sure. I think. And you know, the ideal situation is to fish close and have maximum fishing time for me. But you know, if I got to run, I'll run. So I just don't go typically way up north. I mean, like above that bridge, the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. That's me. But
I think a lot of guys feel that way. I think traditionally you see a lot of guys focus their attention down this way. In terms of the grass right now, give me an update. I think I only asked Cory Johnston this, but like I said, I can see some good looking stuff here, but I don't know what it looks like out on the river right now.
There's some of the community holes that we talked about that are really, really good, got a lot of grass in them, but it doesn't appear to be as thick as it has been in the past.
Okay.
I mean, obviously you can look out here and some of this is matted, and some of the areas that were really matted in the past are not as matted. Now I could just be in the wrong areas, but there's a lot of new grass, and you know, like the grass bed might be, I don't know, 400 or 500 yards bigger than it has for me in the past. So I think it's in really good shape. You know, I've been kind of checking on some of the reports, you know, before we got here, and they've been biting pretty well.
Yeah, they've been smashing them out here.
Yeah. So I think that is just directly related to the grass. You know, cleans it up, cleans the water up, and that's where they live, and the bait lives, and you know, the whole chain lives in there. So for sure.
The one type of cover that we don't, I think, talk a lot about in these are docks.
Absolutely.
There's tons of docks around here.
Yep.
Do you find yourself, do you fish a lot of docks?
I do. I actually do fish a lot of docks. There's a couple stretches that have been really good to me in the past, and I actually checked some out today, and I got some bites in there pretty quick.
Oh, okay.
The tide was really high when I went in there, so it wasn't an ideal situation, but still got some bites. But there's a bunch of docks in here, and there's guys that are keying on those more than in the past, because you used to go there and see maybe one or two boats fishing, but now you go in there and there's several. So you know, you either got to get in line on some of them, or just it's a timing rotation deal. But you know, the wood in those docks is good, and it's different. There's not a whole lot of timber, you know, there are wood out there, so the docks are what they're replacing it with, and they're around there.
Well, I think with that, Jim, you mentioned before we started the interview you were hoping it would get hot finally.
It's hot.
And it did, and it's supposed to be hot for the rest of the week, so go get you a nice cold water, and we'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.